Hi there. This presentation that we're looking at is all around self-presentation and about trying to master self-presentation for career success. So to start off with, I'm going to start off with a quote about what self-presentation is. So personal presentation is all about how you portray and present yourself to other people. It includes how you look, what you say, and what you do. And it is all about marketing you and the brand that is you. It's about what others see and hear from you that will influence their opinion of you. So, good personal presentation is about always showing yourself in the very best possible light. So, why does self presentation matter? It matters because everything that you say and how you present yourself contributes to how others perceive you. So even before any of us speak, our non-verbal cues and visuals, they influence people's judgments. And employers assess not just what you say, but how you present yourself. It's about making sure that you give a really good first impression. That signals professionalism and it is what differentiates you from every other candidate. And it will help you to stand out, not just in interviews with employers, but when you're networking with them or when you're making application forms on a CV or an application form. Now, there are three pillars of self-presentation that we're going to look at. We're going to look at what your message is, what your content is that you want an employer to know about you. We're going to look at those non-verbal communication skills and also about what your branding is, how you sell and market yourself. So the first part of self-presentation is you knowing what your message is to an employer, whether that's on a CV, an application form, meeting an employer at a careers fair or a networking event, or at an interview or an assessment centre. For your message, you need to know what your strengths are, what you're good at, what your values are, and more importantly, what makes you unique from everybody else. So it's always a good idea to have an elevator pitch ready. So try to prepare a concise elevator pitch that's between 30 to 60 seconds in length. And you want to use concrete stories and examples, not vague claims. And you really need to make sure that you tailor your message to whatever your audience's interests are. Looking at non-verbal communication skills now, quite often our non-verbal signals will speak much louder than any of our words. So that's why it is so important that we get this right. Make sure that when you're meeting with an employer, you stand or you sit upright, you avoid having closed arms. Try to use purposeful gestures and always make eye contact, whether that's in person or in a virtual setting. It's important that you do think about your gestures and making sure that they're purposeful, not fidgety. And also think about the tone and the pace of your voice. So vary your tone, pace yourself, make use of conscious pauses. They will show that you are confident and you also have composure. And it's important that we also think about our visual and our professional appearance. So your visual presentation really matters. Your clothing, your grooming. You need to make sure that you dress to suit the context. It might not always be formal, but it does need to be appropriate. You really need to think about your professional etiquette and how you come across to employers, from your LinkedIn profile right the way through to having an interview and maybe doing a PowerPoint presentation for an employer. You need to think about the slides that you use when you're doing a presentation, minimal text, strong visuals that are clear, consistent, and have got visual branding. So you're thinking about the colors you use, the fonts you use, the style, and try and have and avoid cluttered slides. And it is really important that you think about your professional image across all of the branding that you use, and in particular LinkedIn. Quite often employers will see your LinkedIn profile before they even meet you. So you need to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is 100% complete, because that gives a really positive impression of you if it is 100% complete. And think about what your message is on there, and that it is aligned with your professional message that you're giving on your CV, within your application forms, and across all of your platforms and portfolios. So, what self-presentation tactics do employers look for? So, employers are definitely looking at your body language, your non-verbal communication skills, and your personality. And employers have said that this starts right the way at the very beginning of any contact they have with you, looking at your CV. So your CV needs to be 2 pages maximum. And it also, really importantly, has to be targeted to the job you're applying for and the employer. It needs to be tailored to the person's specification and the job description. It really does have to be targeted and tailored to that employer. And that is one of the things that they are looking for. Within an interview setting, employers want to make sure that you arrive on time, that you are dressed appropriately, that you have really importantly done your research on their organization and you know why you want to work for them. They look for politeness. They look that there is a connection between you and them that's around your personality. And also, they look for things like you're not using your phone, or that you've got your phone on silent, remembering that this is all about how you are presenting yourself to that employer. So now, more than ever, self-presentation and overall brand image, they are being elevated to a new height, which can allow it to either make or break a career. Influencing the perception of your image is essentially about you managing how others understand and view you. And that is a really crucial factor in your job search. Your self-presentation matters, and it all stems from your professional image, your online brand, what qualifications you have, and also who you know. It is almost certainly impossible to overestimate the importance of self-presentation, especially when it comes to creating a good first impression, but also in giving a longer-term view of yourself. We all know that you only get one chance to make a really good first impression. And most of us are aware that it can also take quite a long time to undo that first impression if it's negative. We may never get the chance to do so. So you really need to think about how you present yourself to potential employers. So to finish off with, we've just got some key takeaways. You really need to show that you are well informed about the employer you are applying to or speaking to, and link your pitch to what it is that they need. Employers like to see that you've done some homework. You know a bit about their company values, any recent projects they've been involved in, what the culture's like, and any challenges that they may be facing. If you can do that, it will really help you to stand out. And when you talk about your strengths or your experiences, try to connect them directly to the employer's priorities. If you can ask thoughtful questions about the employer, show engagement and interest, it really signals that you're not just there to be hired, but that you want to work for them and you want to contribute to the company and the team. It is essential with self-presentation that you are consistent. Your words, your actions, your image, they should all align. When what you say or how you act or how you look sends mixed signals, that undermines trust. So consistency builds credibility. You also need to think about how you come across. So, owning your space with a confident posture and body language, and thinking about not speaking too fast and not in monotone, because that makes it really hard for listeners to absorb your message. And make sure you pause, let your message get out there. So, self presentation is so important when it comes to getting a job and continuing in your career. It is a continuous improvement process. So, you can help yourself by recording yourself, asking for feedback, observing how your audience reacts, and adjust accordingly. Okay, so that's the end of this short session. I really hope that you have found that useful. If you do need any more help, please contact us at the Career Service. Thank you.